Hey, how's it going? And welcome back to the third phase and the third installment of the comic experience. Throughout this phase, we're going to be getting our students to take all of the ideas that they've created within the rough draft and transfer that to the final copy. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the training. Hi, so what you're taking a look at here is the Virginia Reel. This goes by a few different names. On the East Coast, I found that most people refer to it as the Virginia Reel. On the West Coast, they tend to refer to it as lines of communication. Overall, same strategy. The goal is to get your students to talk. So if you notice here, you have the X's, and here you have the O's. Basically, your students are going to get into two different lines. So one line of X's, one line of O's. The interesting thing about this is they are going to be facing each other. So the way this activity works out is you would give your students, say, 30 seconds and a topic. A really easy one, what's your day going like so far? And for 30 seconds, they're going to talk to their partner about how their day is going. After that, the person who's on this end of the line is going to move all the way over here, and everyone else is going to scooch over one. So everyone in the X line kind of stays still. Everyone on the O side is moving after every question, so to say. Well, it's a great strategy to implement in order to get your students to talk. But here's the connection with comics. So I finished the sloppy copy, I finished the rough draft, now we're getting ready to move on to the final copy. What I really like my students to do now, just because it gives them the opportunity to shoot ideas back and forth with their peers, and it's something that I can't always do with them just because I have so many students. It's not feasible for me to listen to the stories of every one of my students. So what I do is I have them actually pair up like this, and just like this, one person would be on this side, the other on this side, and I would start them off with some really easy topics like how's your day going, maybe what's your comic about, you want to explain that to your partner, okay, ready, set, go. I give them about 30 seconds, then they move on, the line rotates. After that I might have them discuss maybe only one of their characters, like tell your partner all about your protagonist. And they would both be talking during this time, 30 seconds are over, bam, they rotate again. Now, talk for another 30 seconds about the antagonist. So they're talking about the antagonist, both sides. And throughout this process, they're hearing ideas from their partners, but also they're hearing ideas that are circulating around them because they're in a line like that. So it gives them a great opportunity to share the work that they're doing. You can modify this, you can use it for tons of other things. If we want to relate it more so to comics, other things you can do with this are, say this person and this person had their comics handy with them. You could say switch comics for the next minute. You're just going to be reading through your partner's comic. See if you find any mistakes. That would be an excellent way to get your students to edit and revise. And not only are they looking at it, but a friend of theirs or a peer is able to look at their work and they're able to share that. And through that means you're going to hear some really cool things where students are beginning to talk more about the work that they're doing. And that's ultimately what we want to achieve with this. The very next thing that you're looking at here, right after the Virginia Reel, I always like to do this when I'm going through trainings also with my students. It's basically setting a personal goal. Here, if you take a look, it says, what do you want? I think of it in terms of what do you want maybe out of this training, or maybe for your students, what do you want to get out of this really short lesson that I'm going to teach about onomatopoeia, or what do you want to get out of this really quick lesson that I'm going to teach on word art? After that, why? So most of the time it starts off like, I will learn about onomatopoeia, or I will use onomatopoeia in a phrase or a sentence. After that, why? This goal is important because onomatopoeia is a strategy or an idea that's often found in comics. So they're creating a goal, but also they're writing down why it's significant. We want them to be able to create these real-world connections with their work. And for the sake of this, if you wouldn't mind going through this yourself, and if you would just real quickly grab a pencil, paper, write down I will, and then maybe what's something you will get out of this training. And then again, why is it significant? So this goal is important because, and those were basically the lines of communication, or as they call it on the East Coast, the Virginia Reel, and real quickly, setting a personal goal. You can find both of these in the lesson plan of the final copy. Thank you very much, and I hope you liked it. Thanks. Hi, so we're taking a look here at the very next portion of this, which is getting into the MMRPS game. Stands for Massive Multiplayer Rock, Paper, Scissors. So, the way this activity works out, I'll start off by just showing the game to you, and after that I'll give you a few ideas as to how to incorporate the game now with learning, and then the game now with comics. So, the MMRPS game, basically you're going to have your students stand up and practice the different hand signs. So this would be rock, this would be paper, this would be scissors. You want to get them familiarized with the rules. Basically the rules to rock, paper, scissors would be 1, 2, throw, or 1, 2, throw, or 1, 2, throw. It's basically going to be those, and then you want to review the rules. Okay, so we know that there is rock. What beats rock? Paper. We know that there is paper. What beats the paper? Scissors. We know that there are scissors. What beats the scissors? The rock. Okay, so you review all that stuff with your class. Now, here's how the game works. You're going to have your students stand up, and they're going to play someone who's really close to them. So, okay guys, you're all going to play rock, paper, scissors now. And your students are going to start playing. They'll play one person. So let's say that I'm playing my imaginary friend here, so I'd play a round of rock, paper, scissors. Oh, what do you know, I won! And because I won, the person who I beat now goes behind me, and we form somewhat of a train. So now it's myself along with somebody else who's behind me in our train. Now I'm going to walk around the classroom, find another train, play them. So I would go again, 1, 2, throw. Say I beat them again, they would join my train. So now I might have a train of some 4 people. And basically that's this initial setup. Okay, so now let's think about it academically. So I want to play the rock, paper, scissors train and get my students to implement or integrate learning with that. Okay, so one thing I might do is have them play the rock, paper, scissors game, the train, and if one person wins, the other person gets to ask them a question. Say it's a multiplication question. Okay, so how about we practice playing a game here? I would play my partner, got it. I have scissors, I beat them, now they get to ask me a question. Say you're working on multiplication. They would ask, hey, what's 2 times 2? I know the answer, it's 4. Wonderful. I got it. Say the other thing happens where we play a game, I win, they ask me a question, and I get the question wrong. They say, what's 2 times 2? I say 3. At this point, we would go again another round because I got the question wrong. So that's one way of implementing now. You're taking a game where your students are moving, they're walking around, they're having fun, but now they're integrating learning. Okay, so now let's take that idea and add that to the comic experience here. So your students are walking around, they're playing the rock, paper, scissors game. You've run them through all the rules. At this point, you want to have them implement or integrate questions related to comics. So now I might say, okay, we're going to play the rock, paper, scissors game. I win, they ask me a question. They might ask, like, what is onomatopoeia, or what is word art, or what is one-point perspective. Then I would need to maybe explain. If I get the answer right, they join my train. If I get the answer wrong, we go another round. And that's basically the MMRPS game, also known as the MMRPS train, for Massive Multiplayer Rock, Paper, Scissors. And you can find that again in the lesson plan, a little more broken down in regards to step-by-step how to teach it. If I was going to do it real quickly, probably the first day, I would say, okay, has anyone ever heard of this? And you'd get all of these funny ideas that your students might have. Then I would explain, okay, it stands for Massive Multiplayer Rock, Paper, Scissors. Day 1, introduce the idea. And also maybe introduce the rules. Day 2, play a round. Okay, turn to your partner, play this round. Actually play the MMRPS train game. Day 3, make the MMRPS train game now academic. Day 4, relate comics to it, and you're building upon that the whole time in your scaffolding there. Thank you very much, and that's a little bit about the MMRPS train. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. We've gone through 2 different ideas. We've gone through the Virginia Reel as well as a personal goal and the MMRPS train. Right now we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back in a few minutes. Thanks again.